Hello, welcome back to the Yard, and it is the long-awaited part 2 of the interview slash discussion slash rambling bullshit with me and Adam James Owen, PsychoKid, whatever you want to call him. It's taken me about 18 months to get this second part out, so I apologise, but here it is. You're ready to listen to it now. We've had the preambles out of the way. The setup is there. We've heard about Ads' kind of beginnings in backyard wrestling, and now we get into some more of the good stuff, like the Heatfest matches he had with Dan Selby, his time as the NAW Champion, BBWF stuff, and of course the matches that me and him had together, which we self-indulgently go through quite in depth. So look forward to that, and enjoy the second part of the podcast.
I don't even know where we're going. I got distracted completely by having a 56k dial-up modem or whatever it was called.
Yeah, things really changed because it was like 10 meg comps, and then they just progressed to like 250 megabyte comps.
But that made it more exciting, man, because it was like, it wasn't so easily accessible, you know? There wasn't just everything's on YouTube and you're so exposed to it. Like, you'd have to seek this shit out. Like, you'd have to be on the forum to find the link to something that's been uploaded.
And you'd have to put the time in to actually download it and wait like
exactly
hours.
That. And then jeez, man, I remember the days where the days of full feedy.
Oh yeah, move by move.
We'll give full feedy later.
Nice suplex.
Good job, lads. Some sloppy bumps, but great psychology. People actually do it. First match, good tie up. Liked the wrist lock. Sloppy headlock. Like, as if people cared enough. And people then get asked, like, why no feedback? Why isn't anyone giving us feedback? Give us feedback. There's no point in us making these videos if nobody's going to give us feedback. Why was everybody so obsessed?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's probably that, again, the need to be accepted and people to recognise what you're doing. And
That's what it is. That's what it is. And everybody wants to be the best at it. Which is why everybody got so good.
Did you ever take it that seriously to like want to be one of the best, or maybe like push yourself more than you thought you were capable of?
I don't know. I think as we started like getting a bit older, it was pretty clear that like guys like DOD, guys like me and DOD like to work out or whatever it was that
hit the gym.
Who said that?
Aussie Mayhem.
Aussie Mayhem.
Yeah.
Guys like DOD and myself like to work out. What a bender. Shit, what were we talking about? Yeah, shit. So DOD, like he was like a big guy, like physically. And then when you start wrestling with people like Dave Williams, who can chuck people around, and do you know what I mean? Like people that have like physical attributes that would actually make them a better wrestler.
Yeah.
People like John, who are like agile as fuck. People like Billy, who turned out to be like massive. Ross, Baz is good at flips. I wasn't really good at anything like that. But I still wanted to get better. But once I'd won the NAW title, which is you only kind of get because you're mates with Nate and you've been around forever, or you're really good. But I managed to get that just by default, just because I'd been around for ages. It wasn't because like I was wicked at anything, but I just managed to kind of get over through promos and stuff. I knew I was never going to be like a tyrant or you know someone tyrant, Selby, Dreamer, Barnesy, Farage. Like these people have got like athletic ability and can hold their own in like a big match. Like everything I did was just based on, I don't know, more storytelling and safe high spots.
Well, yeah, I don't undersell yourself. I don't think that devalues anything. I mean,
I think it was, and because I'm a loud bastard as well, because it's easy for me to sort of at backyard shows, like, especially NAW, because NAW, I'd just be a loud knob the whole time I was there. It just meant people were more into my matches than they should have been, you know, like because they'd invested in the fact that I'm a loud knob all the time, and that character in NAW was just a loud knob, so it allowed me to get over more than I probably should have done.
Well, when I first saw you wrestle was Coldfest 2005.
Wrestle there.
It was DOD and Farrell against you and John, I think.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I just remember being really impressed by your charisma and presence and stuff. You just felt like a proper wrestler in that sense, just the flamboyance and stuff. And the confidence, I guess. So I think that was one of your strengths, you know.
That's probably it, though. That's probably it, isn't it? It's just a lot of front. But then it took a long time to get there because obviously that just came because I got along with everybody and I knew I could be a dick in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I was so comfortable with everybody there that I could just do that and get away with not actually having the best physical attributes or you know, being the cleanest bumper. Like, it didn't really matter. I kind of got away with it by just going for it and doing stupid things and making people laugh. And do you know what I mean? Like, that was kind of my attribute, I suppose. But that was never going to make me as, you know, I'm not going to have matches like Ty does, where he does like things of like, wow, how did he do that? You know?
Yeah.
They're all like, everything I did was pretty standard. Like you said earlier, like a leg drop. Like, it's just a leg drop.
Well, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yeah, I suppose. But I don't know. I suppose I got quite high up the rankings. I suppose if you look at it like that.
Yeah. Well, when you did win the NAW title, I don't necessarily think that was just by default. You know.
I don't. Yeah. Well, it was kind of because there was no one else around at that time. It was kind of a sticky spot for Nate, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because BBWF just like. Well, yeah. I ended Torrent's unbeaten feud, like, which is really weird. It was like a really weird thing. Because Ty had just had enough of BBWF. I can't remember what they fell out about. There was a big falling out. And BBWF were just like, we're done with NAW. But I kind of wasn't, because I was quite enjoying NAW. I got to wrestle Dreamer in NAW. Do you know what I mean? It was like wicked. I was just having nice... And it was the first time I'd ever started doing techie stuff, because by that point I already hated bumping. So I just literally... That's the only reason I started doing stuff like the cattle mutilation, so that I could base matches on like reversal spots for that, where it was just a lot of groundwork and chain work instead of taking bumps all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was really enjoying it, so I didn't want to leave. And Nate like gave me the please stay title. It was like literally invented for that reason.
Oh, okay.
The Southern title.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. I thought you meant the NAW.
Yeah, John was leaving.
The Southern
and Nate
title.
knew it, and John was unbeaten at that point. And Nate went, well, you're wrestling ads for the Southern title, which was like the WCW belt, I think, like the big shiny Goldberg belt.
Yeah.
Was it that? I don't know. My knowledge is
yeah,
shit.
It was, yeah.
But yeah, John just. I don't really remember John being. And I know he was bummed about it, like from talking to him further down the line. Like John wasn't happy with that. But obviously, I didn't care. Like, fuck, I'm going to get a belt. And I'm going to end John's undefeated streak. Like, why am I going to say no? Like, John's leaving. Fuck it. Let's do it. And so I stuck around. And then because of that, and Ash stuck around as well. And Ash got the Southern title. And I think I've retired. Didn't I lose the Southern title to Ash?
Yeah, Heatfest 2006.
Yeah, another retirement there.
Another retirement.
Came back from that.
Speech and everything.
Yeah, worth doing though. NAW World Heavyweight Champion after that. But then at the same time, I was in feuds with Danny Legend and Nada Pardis, so you know the kind of direction NAW was in at the time. Danny Legend was good though. I like that phase in NAW.
Yeah, Legend was awesome. I
liked his anti-backyard stance. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
You know, because there weren't that many indie... Now, like, loads of the lads have gone indie and they're doing really well for themselves. At that point, not many people were. And so Danny... And he wasn't, like, doing well for himself, but he was... That just the gimmick worked for me. I liked it.
Yeah.
Until Nada Pardis had a feud with Blaze that never should have happened.
Oh.
That noise summarises my feelings on that feud.
For me, it was because me and Alex were having this big like payoff match, and we were going to use thumbtacks, and it was going to be the first time ever that NAW had seen thumbtacks. And 2 matches before our match, Nikki and Nada just used thumbtacks, and they just did bump after bump onto it. They didn't really, and we were just like, ugh.
Nada Pardis did bumps on thumbtacks.
No, actually, I think it was just Nikki who just took loads.
Good. I'm glad we clarified that.
And of course, we wanted to keep it a secret. We wanted to keep it a secret, and like during
Spot blown.
Yeah, well, Nada looked over to me, and Alex was like, "Do you need some of these thumbtacks for like?" Oh, Nada, what are you doing?
Oh, I hate that though. I hate it. I mean, that's like on the biggest scale that it can happen. But even the little things when you're like at a backyard show and you've got something planned, and someone else does it.
Yeah. Like
in their match, even little things. I remember like when the Code Red first came in. Everybody wanted to do a Code Red in their match.
Yeah.
was such a nice looking move. It always looked brutal and flashy at the same time, and it's quite easy to do. But there was time everyone would do a code red, and you'd be like, right, so we'll do the code red after we've done this in a match. Second match in, someone's done a code red. Oh, do we still do it? Do we still do it? There were like comps where like everyone's doing the same moves.
Yeah.
German suplexes galore, head and necks everywhere.
Yeah. Why was that a good idea? Head and necks.
That should never have been a thing, should it?
No.
Head and necks. Kill yourself. Just kill yourself. Oh, that was well good though. You landed on your head and your neck. Hope you don't die in the future. Like Jesus Christ, on the floor.
See, that's another thing.
That's like Selby's taking like German suplexes on concrete and stuff.
Oh, man. That's one of the things at Britfest. I said to Dream, I was like, obviously, there's no reason for us to do anything like that because everyone else is going to be doing that, you know. And one of the wrestlers there was like, "Oh, is your match going to be full of death?" And I was like, "No."
It's weird, isn't it?
It's just the way it is, really. I guess you want to impress everyone and show your worth and your toughness by landing on your head.
Yeah, see, I don't even like doing that. I just like doing the odd high spot. I love a table bump.
Yeah. And they're not too dangerous either, I don't think.
Nah.
Not compared to a Storm Cradle or something.
Yeah, see, I've been really lucky. Like, I used to have like a list of moves that I'd never take, and I managed to avoid ever taking them. And the only time I took like some of the moves on that list were from the BWF guys, and that was just because over a period of time we had that ring base, and that ring base was like a dream. It was the best thing I've ever wrestled on, and that was my most the most enjoyable time in Backyard.
Really?
Was when BWF had that ring base.
That's when they wrestled like in like a car park or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh, mate, it was the best. It was the best. I'm so gutted it stopped. Like, we would have carried on if we could. God knows what we would have done if we could have just stayed there. But that ring base was an absolute dream. And then because we had the ring base, I was like happy to practice stuff more. But I always said I'd never take a Fire Thunder driver, and I never did until Ross. And that was just because, like, we'd practice it loads, and he'd do it like slowly, and then again and again until I had like the bottle to take it properly. But I was so wary of taking certain moves, and I'm so glad I stayed away. Storm Cradles. I never like took a reverse run or anything like that.
Yeah.
I never wanted to take anything like that. I don't think I've ever taken a superplex. Yeah, there are certain things that I just wouldn't have done, I don't think.
Yeah, I was the same one that would never take a Storm Cradle or anything like that.
Nah, man.
But speaking of those kind of moves, the Joker driver.
Oh, don't.
Where did that come from?
Finisher, man. I don't even, it was like CZW off the Joker, obviously. I don't remember when I first did it. I think it was on Brandon, because me and Brandon were watching a load of like just online media comps and stuff to get ideas, and we'd seen a Joker driver, and Brandon was like, "Yeah, you should do that. You should do that." And so I did it on Brandon in the match, and he got such a pop, like, because it's a dirty move.
Yeah.
But it's just not safe, man. It never was.
No.
But no, it was cool. It was cool for a while. I got to do on JJ Cage. I actually did. I did two on JJ Cage.
I bet that went well.
Oh, no, do you know what? It was sweet. It was probably the safest one I did because I had him so well tucked.
Okay.
Because it was Joey, I was like, oh, God, did you? And because he's so, I don't know, the guy could probably suck his own dick. Like, he's so, like, bendy. So I just had him tucked in so solid. And as I had him tucked in, Nada was going, Joey was going, Nada, what do I do? What do I do? Do I breathe in? And I was like, no, Joey, no. And I heard him go, before I did it, just before I sat out. And of course, instant winding. It was just the funniest pin. I've got to pin him, and then around here, like 1, 2, and he's just going. It was bad, man. It was bad. But that was the safest one I've ever done. I had him so well tucked, and it looked the best. But it's just because the knobhead took a huge breath just before we did it.
Oh, I love that mental image of him just like screaming to Nada for instructions.
It had his head like locked so close to mine as well. Like his cheek was on my cheek. And he's just screaming for Nada. It was like, oh, God. I wrestled Joey like 3 times, and I have no idea why I allowed that to happen. But again, it's probably just because I knew I could do anything with Joey. Like, and I suppose I was always going to come out better. Do you know what I mean? But there were some fun matches.
Well,
Bless him.
that's what it's all
Why are we
about.
talking about Joey again?
I don't know.
This obsession with Joey.
Well, let's go back a bit to EWE. So you finished that. I guess. Well, what was the overall EWE experience like, generally? Obviously, you said that you started hitting, bumping on ground and stuff, but
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of just got... I don't know, I suppose it was a bit... There wasn't really any vibe to it.
okay.
The crowd sort of stood in a square, and it was all very organised. I don't know, it wasn't very free, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like lads just screaming around the ring base and going wild at like crazy stuff. It wasn't like that. It was cool for a while, but I don't know, it got stale really quickly. And there were too many weirdos and shit storylines.
So
And then then someone got robbed by some Geordie guy that Nate brought down.
What?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Cronus.
Ah, I've heard of him. Right.
There was like this big like rant like on the forum and stuff because he'd like robbed some kid's bag at a show, and then the next show Cronus was at, some other stuff went missing, and then he stopped coming back, and everyone was like, "Fucking hell!" So that kind of soured it a bit.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of goths there as well.
What do you mean?
I don't know what that is bad, but I don't know. It was just a lot of weird kids that weren't like wrestlers. They were like local people.
All
Like
right.
they kind of came down, and Nate's kind of embraces that, doesn't he? He's always embraced that.
Yeah.
Like with the Zach and Dad thing that we spoke about earlier. Like he'll always get other people involved. Anyone get involved. Come and see that. And it kind of just made it a bit weird. So I just stopped going. And the BWF lads stopped going. And that's kind of I don't know. That might have been when we started. Well, when I started BWF, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did that transition happen? You just...
I don't know what I was doing before that. Was that It can't have been EWE straight to that, surely.
I don't know. You tell me.
But I remember Bazza asking me about it. Because Baz was, it was supposed to be Cherry. Demise from FUX.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be him that pushed Bazza off the roof in that horrible clip where he nosedives off a ladder.
Oh my god, that was ridiculous.
He's such a lucky bastard, man. That could have ended so differently.
Could have ended his life.
It probably could. He could have, or do you know what I mean? Ended up in a wheelchair because he lands on his face like
Yeah.
from really high, and he was fine. But that was supposed to be Demise, and then Demise just weren't up for it and didn't really care. And so Baz was like, "Do you want to do it?" I was just like, "Okay, sweet." Like, and the storyline had already made itself
Yeah.
because they'd been building it for Cherry. And I'd always got on with Ty anyway. Like from the first time, Ty had stayed at my house and stuff when he first came to FUX because he lived in Dunstable. And then obviously I'd wrestled over in BWF before, after the EWE trip. So I knew John and Billy quite well anyway, and Ross. I wouldn't say I knew or liked Ross at that point. Ross was a bit of a bellend. Ross was just an annoyance. But you knew that if you wanted to hang out with John and Billy, then you'd probably have to put up with Ross as well. Yeah, God, yeah, Ross. I met Ross in EWE. Ross was in EWE and he was a right pain in the arse. He was just an annoying Spanish wanker. But, yeah, Ross is fun and great to be around when you're Ross's friend. But if you're not Ross's friend, he's just an annoying bastard. But, yeah, so I knew those guys anyway. And after that first like little segment with Bazza, it was me, Raiden, it was me all along. It just went from there. And BWF was my favourite place to be. Like, it was much more fun than THD. But that's probably because of the ring base. Right. And because we're all of like legal drinking age, so we can party as well.
So that when you joined then, the reveal that it was you, was that your first BWF kind of?
I'd wrestled there, like I said, I wrestled there before.
Yeah, but when you joined.
What was that the first time I
joined the Fed? When it was revealed that it was you that...
Yeah, I don't know if I'd said I'd join. I don't think I was... I don't know if the lads were like, that's allowed, do you know what I mean? Like, they were quite close-knit, the BWF lads.
Okay.
And Baz had been there for a while. Like, he'd been going for like a year before that, him, Ashley and Tic Tac. So they're all quite close-knit. I think it was like, the first time was the ground show Was it that show? We had a three-way with Ashley Dunn and Ty, I think. I can't even remember. But it was a ground show in Dunstable. That was like the first, like, okay, right, we were in. And then we had that sick, like, build-up to the Resurrection pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And that pay-per-view was fucking wicked, man. And there was a big buzz going into that from, like, online as well.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Because Ty and D had, like, a wicked feud. Ty and DOD had a wicked feud. Me and Baz had this ongoing rivalry. And it was just wicked because we had all the history as well from, like, all the FUX stuff. It just kind of lent itself to itself. And because Baz was a real dick as well, that made it better. He actually gave me a shoot light tube spot in that match.
Really?
Yeah. Baz had bought a light tube with him. Oh, excuse me. Baz bought a light tube, and I said, mate, I was going to London that night with my friends, like suited and booted. So I was like, I can't take a light tube shot. I'm not doing it, mate. I can't even risk it. And he was like, no, it's for me. It's for me. I was like, okay, cool. As long as you promise. He's like, yeah. We'll put it underneath the big container, and then at this point, I'll pull it out, give me a low blow, take it off me, and then hit me over the back with it. I was like, okay, cool. And then when it came to that spot in the match, he pulled it out. I'm on my hands and knees, thinking, right, this must be the bit he's going to come over with it. Oh, wait, bang, straight across my bare back.
What?
I was just like, oh my God. He's like just a proper shoot light tube spot. But obviously, like, John, Christian, Billy, Ross, they went mad. Ashley Dunn's jumping around. And the match was going so well, and the adrenaline was pumping, that I kind of like sold, or I think I like silent the comp, and then I smashed him with the last little bit. But that was completely shoot. Bastard.
What a twat.
What a twat.
I can't believe that. That's mad.
Yeah, but just out of nowhere. That's Bazza though. But it was like, I think after the match, DOD and AK were like, no, that was great psychology, man. The way Bazza hit with that light tube after all the bad things you've done in the storyline, like they were so into it, like it was planned. Like, so maybe Bazza's just a bit of a genius, and he kind of knew that was the best spot to do, but knew I'd be a pussy about it if he asked. So just sort of conned me into doing it the other way.
You were shirtless as well, weren't you?
You what?
You were shirtless as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm glad that you did. Like,
oh, there you go.
in hindsight's a wonderful thing. But I did say before the match, no, I'm not taking it. And we planned a spot where I was hitting him with it, and he just went against that and just hit me with a light tube.
I remember when I wrestled Dave Williams at Britfest, I was like, just don't like give me a scoop slam, because that just ruins my back. And he just shoot scoop slam me. I was like, you fucking slut.
Why do people do that? It's funny though. Like, it's always like, if it was anybody else, you know, I'd be super pissed off.
Yeah.
But because it's Bazza, like, and it made the match better. But because it's Bazza, like, because we're so close, you can kind of just sort of go like, oh, you know, I weren't happy with that, but all right, Bazza. Whereas if it was like some guy you've just met on the internet, randomly hits you with a light tube, I should imagine you'd feel a whole lot different about it.
Yeah.
Which is why Dave can get away with it.
Yeah. Kind of just went along with it. But what were your thoughts of NAW when that first started up?
I don't know. Obviously, at that point, I had to come in I came in as Evo's manager.
That's right, yeah. Forgot about that.
Weird choice. So I did that for a bit. Because I didn't want to wrestle on those mats.
Yeah.
Those mats were just horrible. Why would you want to wrestle on those mats? So I thought, well, I'll just be a manager so I can be involved and come to the shows and stuff. And that lasted a couple of weeks, and then Nate was like, do you want to wrestle in the cruiserweight division? Which, I suppose at that point I was a bit like, fucking hell, do I have to do this? Like, really? But then I got to work with Costa, which was wicked. And that's like I think I only did 2 Britfests. That being the first, and you being the only other one.
Oh yeah, true. Well,
but that match with Costa was wicked.
Yeah, so about that match with Costa, because that was a pretty nutty one.
Yeah, he's crazy, man. Like he planned all of it. Apart from see, I have like mixed memories on the Joker driver, because I was always sure it was his idea, and then I saw that video the other day about that documentary with him all around, and he was talking about like, yeah, I didn't want to take it. And I don't know. I sort of think like, I don't know. But perhaps that was the case.
Maybe he just said it for dramatic effect for the documentary.
I don't know. I don't know. But maybe like, I can't imagine. Why would Costa go? Yeah, okay, do it. I don't know. But I did feel bad about that. Like, what can you do?
What can you do?
It's like it's never going to be your intention to hurt someone.
No, of course not.
I just had a move that I wasn't very good at, you know. But it does suck. It's like a proper shitty feeling to actually injure someone in a wrestling match.
Match was great though.
Yeah, it was a wicked match. But you do sort of think like, oh shit, you know, is he going to be pissed off? Like, you know, fucking hell, like, are there going to be any repercussions from this? Like, it's bad. It's not a nice feeling. But hey, fuck, it happens, man.
Yeah. So you started wrestling in NAW then. Well, you got to wrestle Dream as well. What was that like?
I don't know. It was quite a short match, and we didn't really do anything special. It was just like a 10-minute nice match.
Yeah. With
like a lot of near falls and a lot of reversals. I think it was a match that we enjoyed a lot more than anybody else watching it. You know, we didn't do anything that would be sort of too strenuous. We just enjoyed like a nice 10-minute grapple, and that was wicked. That was wicked. But what other great matches there? Like I say, great matches. My favourite NAW match. You won't like this as well, because although I love our Britfest match, my favourite.
It's got to be the three-way. It's got to be the triple
threat.
threat. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That was my favourite match.
You, Alex, and John.
Yeah, it was just so much fun. So much fun. And there wasn't anything too much in that hurt too bad. There was a Joker driver though.
Was there?
Yeah, I did a Joker driver on John.
Yeah.
But it's a really safe, nice one. And you can do anything on John anyway because it's made of rubber.
Yeah.
But that was my favourite NAW match.
Yeah, that was like a few years later when you were starting to do more technical stuff around that time. Was that when you started wrestling as Adam James Owen?
Yeah, that was so much easier to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I just tried to stop bumping. I'd literally go out of my way to plan matches where I didn't have to bump.
Yeah.
Because I just hated it, man. I just absolutely hated it. Those mats was just savage.
Pretty much.
It's not like a nice comfy wrestling ring or a ring base where you can like sell stuff properly. Like everything hurts on those mats, and it just sucked all the enjoyment out. So I had to try and do something else so I could keep wrestling without just hating it.
So what? You like hated bumping and stuff. So
yeah.
Why did you still want to wrestle? Was it just you still had the kick?
I just still had the buzz. I just still loved it.
Oh.
Yeah, I still loved it. I just didn't love bumping. I just didn't want to bump. I just hated it. It became fear. Like the worst that got like that phobia of bumping was when we had that 6-way planned with VCW, and it probably would have been, and I know that sounds like oh well yeah you would say that because it didn't happen, but the way the match was planned, that probably would have been the best Batgirl match. Like I don't know, it would have been something really really special. Put it that way.
Yeah.
The VCW guys had so much stuff planned. Like, I don't know how their minds work, but they had the whole thing done. It wasn't like there wasn't any like space in it for then we'll just freestyle or rest holds. It was like every detail was planned. Everything led into something else. Like those guys were like the masters, and I've never felt so scared. I was shitting myself to the point where I was thinking like, do I actually have to do this? Like. I already hated bumping that much, and they were going to make me do some wacky shit that I just didn't want to do. But you just can't say no. Like, it was too late. Main event, let's do it. And as it was, I managed to get out of it. But, which I'm kind of glad about. I mean, it sucked that Makabe got injured. But there was a bit of me that was like, thanks fuck for that.
Oh my god.
Because literally some of those spots were like, I don't know, they were terrible. They were going to do, well, at first I was going to have to take a 3D, like a stalling 3D from Chewy and Scott Henson. And even that in itself made me think, oh, do you know what? I don't want to do that. And then they were going to do the same with John, but they were going to chuck him over the top rope, and Makabe was going to catch him through a table on the outside. That would have been loopy. Makabe was going to do a springboard senton for a table on me. I was taking Chewie's fucking, what's it called? Axe bomber.
Yeah.
And that I didn't want to take. I actually said to him for the match, I said, look, I'm not being funny. Look at me and look at you. Is there any way you can do like a soft version? Can you like, honestly, I'm not even joking. I actually said that to him outside the toilets by the Riviera restaurant. And he just kind of looked at me like I was a freak. Like, are you kidding me? And he was like, sorry, man. Like, in his deep, scary voice. And I was just like, oh my God. I was taking like a German, like a released German from him as well. I reckon my head would have come off.
Wait, so you asked for a soft version and he just said no?
Yeah, basically.
Brilliant.
I just didn't want to bump or get hurt. I loved the wrestling, but I didn't like getting hurt. I didn't mind it so much like prior to that, but it got to the point where I don't know, that started to take all the enjoyment out of wrestling. Getting hurt.
That's such a paradox. I love wrestling, but didn't want to get hurt. Kind of goes with the territory.
I wanted to take bumps that would make people mark out. That would be at the least cost to my body or personal well-being.
So,
I think I reached my peak with that. It was after the Selby match. I just was like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just try and avoid doing stuff from now on. Because that match was like that was the craziest match I've ever had. And after that, it was like, right, calm the fuck down.
Well, let's talk about that then. You and Selby was at Heatfest 2007, right?
Yeah.
It was thrown together at the last minute, wasn't it? I remember it wasn't supposed to happen.
It was one of those things, man. It was the last day, I think. And everybody was... I think there was another main event. I can't remember even who was supposed to be in it. But Selby was supposed to be in it. And someone pulled out, and it gets to that point when it's been 3 days of drinking or something, and no one can be asked. And someone said, oh, why don't you wrestle Selby? And Selby was like, yeah, go on then. And then I was just like, well, fucking hell. I don't know if I dare. You know, because it's Selby, and it's a Sunday, and I'm knackered, and yeah, obviously you're going to be worried about wrestling Selby, especially on the fly. And they were like, yeah, it's main event. Like, fucking hell, well, I'd be an idiot to not do it, but at the same time, the idea is terrifying. And so I said, yeah, okay, let's do it. And so we started to plan a little bit. And Selby kind of gave me the sort of idea that, look, if I'm going to wrestle in the main event, I want to go a bit nutty. You know, he wanted to really go all out. And I was thinking more and more like, oh my God, this sounds scary. And then I sort of went and sat in the car with Billy for a bit, and Billy was giving me ideas for spots, and I'm getting panicked. And I've already sort of agreed to the greetings off the scaffold through the table. So I'm already just panicking about that, let alone anything else. I'm just thinking I've got to take a bomb off the scaffold. And then I came back over by the ring, and Selby sat there smashing Stella bottles on a bit of wood with a hammer. And my stomach my stomach sank. I was just thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? What is he doing? And then when he came over and talked about the idea of putting him in a wrist lock and making him walk over the glass, I thought he was joking. I thought I might be I thought I was being trolled. Like, is he having a laugh? Like, when I saw him smashing the bottles, I was thinking, nah, it's surely for effect. Like, we're not going to go anywhere near that. So when he said, yeah, take my shoes and socks off and walk me across the glass, oh, you're nuts. And then as we planned more and more and talked the match through, and like we basically walked, like mapped it out. We'll go from here to here to here to here. We'll do this spot. The tree spot as well. We tried climbing up the tree before. And even then I was thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do any of this. But you can't not do it. You know, you're in that situation where it's Dan Selby and it's Heatfest and you've got this opportunity and you've got to go for it. And that was easily the best match I've ever had in terms of like the story and the way it panned out. And I don't even regret taking the DDT because it was a nutty spot. And it made the match better.
Yeah.
But that was definitely the most ridiculous match I've had. And I think after that, I sort of thought, well, I'm not going to better that. So kind of try and tone down any kind of bumping. Fuck bumping.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to backyard wrestle, that's my advice. Fuck bumping. Just don't bump. Especially not on ground.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite backyard match, I think, to see. It was just, yeah. And I remember, actually, you saying that to me. You came over to me and you were like, Selby's round the back smashing glass bottles. This is ridiculous. And I could see in your face how concerned you were.
Yeah, I was terrified, man. I was terrified.
But it worked
But he
for the
was like
psychology.
possessed. He was so up. He was like so up for it, man. And it was like I was getting the buzz off him. But at the same time, I was kind of like, is this guy mad? Is it like? But obviously, you hear stuff like, and you know Selby's the best, and everybody wants to wrestle Selby. And I suppose that was kind of my own Selby experience. Was that 3 hours of feeling terrified before the match, and for mostly during. It wasn't until about halfway through that, I think probably leading up to the first barbed wire in the corner spot, because I'd never really done anything like that. And I knew I was getting whipped into the corner.
Yeah.
And I was shitting myself. I was like really rigid all the way up until that spot. And after that, I'm then panicking about the Russian leg sweep off the apron onto the barbed wire board. And once we've done that, then I'm kind of like, okay, we're flying, we're away. And like the FUX with the blood thing, like it kind of, I was well into it by that point. But for certainly up until like the first few high spots, I was terrified, man. I was really panicking. But then what can you do? Well, you can't just stop in a match.
Yeah.
Actually, guys, I'm not sure I want to take this. Like, can you imagine? It would just be terrible, wouldn't it?
Yeah. How did the
Set up a barbed wire board, but actually we're just going to do headlocks, and I'm going to take a powerbomb, and Selby's going to win.
How did the bomb feel off the scaffold?
Oh, do you know, it was the comfiest. It didn't even hurt one little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked awesome, but it just looked really comfortable at the same time.
I don't know how it was. There was something shining on me that day. I got very lucky. But it was so comfy. And you can tell because as soon as I land, I like bounce around to sell it.
Yeah.
And I was like shitting myself, hanging onto the scaffold thinking this is such a bad idea. Like literally shaking. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then as I land, it's just bliss. Like, oh, it didn't hurt. Yes, sell it loads, sell it loads, sell it loads. And then, of course, as soon as I stop selling that, I'm panicking about my head.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the match finishes, DOD's like, right, let me have a look. And there was like a flap of skin on my head that, like, you could, like, if you pulled the hair, the skin came with it.
Oh, God.
It was gross, man. I got a bit of Stella bottle in my head. I didn't know what to do. I just thought, well, let's just see if it stops bleeding. So I actually drove home. I drove me and Ash back that night from Aylesbury all the way back to Bedford. And then when I got to Bedford, I dropped Ash off and it was still bleeding pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I went to the hospital and they glued it back together. They put a sponge in it, which was highly painful.
Ugh.
And then super glued it back together.
Yeah, with that match, I always kind of have a weird thing about it because the month before, me and Selby were supposed to wrestle in Aylesbury. And it was pretty much going to be that kind of a match. And so I was kind of like, oh, this is amazing, I'm loving it, but I kind of want to be there in that match. But then I just saw you after the match when people were looking at your head, and I was like, nah.
That's like the closest I've ever come to a death match. Like,
I would never take a DDT onto broken glass. That's just. Ugh.
I don't know why, but I just thought, well, when I take a DDT, I don't actually hit my head on the ground. Do you know what I mean? I kind of put my arm out.
Even that is enough for me to say nope.
You are?
Even that is enough for me to say nope.
I don't know. I just sort of, every time I take a DDT, I kind of use my forearm to sell it and then bounce off the forearm. Which is why I fucked myself up taking your DDT the first time.
Yeah.
Because I had to do it on my other forearm. And I don't know, I tweaked my forearm trying to sell the DDT. But the one with Selby, when it came to it, he grabbed me for the DDT, and as I'm about to take the DDT, I think my brain says, you can't put your forearm down because there's a shit ton of glass there. So I just didn't put my hands down and just took an actual DDT on glass, which was a pretty retarded thing to do.
Jesus Christ.
It looked wicked, though.
Yeah.
I was well happy with it afterwards. But that whole match was Selby's doing. Like the guy's crazy.
Yeah.
He's like an evil genius. But he just carried it. He was just so good to work with. And you know, there wasn't any point in the match where I felt lost. Like I knew exactly what was coming next.
Yeah.
It's like it was a great experience.
Did you ever wrestle at Britfest?
No.
Okay.
No. I wasn't invited, I think, to the first couple. So like I say, I didn't really get on with a lot of the ECW guys. I think it mainly started when I fell out with Oz back in the FUX days because he put in some money for the FUX ring. And
Really?
yeah, for the wood, we needed fresh wood for the FUX.
Right.
What was it called? Fucks and Bombs, I think the event ended up being called. That was like the Fed name, Fucks and Bombs. And it was basically ECW and FUX. And we needed new wood for the ring base. And Oz sort of ended up lumped with the bill. But when they were buying it, Oz rang and he was like, can you get some money together? Like, I need about 20 quid. And we were like, yeah, we can do that. And he got there and we were like, Ash, you got any money? No. Bazzy, got any money? No. Tic Tac, any money? No. Naylor? Oh, I've got a fiver. Oh, fuck, we need 20 quid. And Oz never got it. And he was like relentless for like years after that about his 20 quid. And then that turned into like, from like kind of joke heat to legit heat. We'd always argue online. And then from that, I didn't really get on with Burton. And yeah, so I didn't really get on with a lot of those guys around that time. How did we get onto that? I just digress from every single topic.
Well, no, I was asking you about Britfest because I was wondering like just what you thought was better in terms of like the big interfeds, you know, whether it was Heatfest or NAW or whatever, you know.
Heatfest, definitely Heatfest. For me, obviously the better, but then at the same time, that last XPB warehouse show, the only XPB warehouse show, I had the time of my life that night.
Yeah.
So I can see why people would have loved it because it's such a nice setting, and obviously those guys are great. But I just never had. I think I got invited to the last. I definitely got invited to one, but I couldn't go. I think there was a later one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Like the final one.
2013.
I was invited to that one, but I couldn't go. But the earlier one, yeah, I don't think I was necessarily because it was kind of invite only, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And I just never got the call, man.
Yeah, I did in 2006, but I was too much of a pussy to go on my own.
Yeah. Hey, fair play.
Yeah.
At least I wasn't invited. Your story's worse.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I say that though. I think I probably would have rather been invited.
I'm sure you were gonna. The one I was going to. I'm sure they said you were wrestling on it.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I certainly well the first one. Definitely not. I know that much.
No, this is like the third one I'm talking about. So.
Hey, maybe by that point.
Yeah.
But again, it's like click, isn't it? You have to work your way in, and I suppose at the early point, I didn't necessarily get along with them. I didn't really know the guys that well. And it turns out now, like they're the guys I see the most. Like I see Dave, like every now and again. Dave's been to a few gigs, and we've met up in London. So him, Dreamer, and Burton, I speak to regularly, and also saw Selby the other day.
Yeah.
And then all the BWF lads as well. And they were kind of well integrated into that kind of circle because obviously John was the best. So John was welcome everywhere.
Yeah.
So by being affiliated with BWF, I suppose, I became more accepted within that group. For me, the Heatfest experience over the Betterfest experience.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Simply because I only went to Heatfest.
Exactly. It's a tough decision, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I was going to ask you what was how was it being the NAW champion for that brief period? Because you had a really good match with Danny Legend. It was like, was it 2 out of 3 falls or something?
Yeah.
I really liked that one.
It was pretty cool. I enjoyed that match, but it had to be good because I was a bit sort of nervous about it. Because I don't know. I suppose it's quite prestigious, really, at that point, especially because everybody and his dog has wrestled or is in NAW around that time anyway. It was kind of like, yeah, sweet. This is the UK Backyard Fed, and I'm going to get to be the UK Backyard Champion for a little bit. And it was a good match. And I remember I was a bit worried about shit like people like Dave Hill was there. But when the match finished, I like leant on the ropes and I had the belt up in the air, and Dave Hill just sort of tapped me on the back, like give me a pat on the shoulder. And I sort of turned around and look at him, and then sort of put me on back up and celebrate. And I remember at the time feeling like it was kind of like a bit of approval. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a well done, good match. Don't mind that you're champ. And that was the only reason I was worried. Is just shit. What will people think?
Yeah.
But no, it was a fun little bit, a fun little period. But I think I was only champ for like 3 shows.
Yeah, you defended against him, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah, I did, and he stiffed the fuck out of me.
But you took his head off with that fucking lariat.
Yeah, but because he stiffed the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Dave's great. Dave's great. I think that's the only time I've been in the match and I felt like, is this guy really trying to hurt me? You know? It felt like that, like some of his stomps, like he was actually. I had like foot marks on my chest like the next day.
Yeah.
I was really like, wow. But it was such a good match and it was such a good rush as well.
Yeah.
Like, as weird as that sounds, it was like quite a buzz to like feel actual fear about, wow, you know, God, this guy's gonna rip me apart. And then that showed in the lariat because it was like, wow, you know, I've got to go with some aggression here. This match isn't, you know what I mean, it's not going to reach the climax it needs to reach if I fanny around. If he's been stamping around on me, I need to up it. But yeah, that was a really good match. And I had a really good, well, I say really good, I had a decent pro match with him at XPB as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, on those weird XPB indie shows.
Yeah. I've never seen that. I didn't realize you wrestled on that.
It's on YouTube.
Is it? Okay.
Well, you were supposed to be in XPB, but what happened? You bailed out.
No, I did the second one that they did.
You did the second one?
Yeah.
Oh, in a green
Yeah.
jumpsuit with no sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically Eric Rowan's attire.
Yeah, pretty much. But with the beard on his head instead of his chin. Those shows were wicked, man. The second one was the worst one, though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's your fault, but the main event went on for about 3 days.
I just, it was the only one that the media was just lost as well. I was like, oh great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was weird. Yeah, I've never seen my match,
Yeah.
but then at the same time, I don't really mind because it was pretty terrible.
Oh, okay.
It just went on for days. But those XPB Pro shows were wicked.
Did you enjoy yourself in that kind of environment with a proper crowd instead of a backyard one?
Yeah, it was cool, like arguing with kids and stuff. And I don't know, I had quite a lot of freedom on the mic. I was doing the whole human work of art gimmick.
That was good. I like that.
Slating the crowd, like, oh, so many ugly people. And yeah, Burton and Selby really sort of, the way they booked it was wicked. Like I don't know how they booked you, do you know what I mean? But from my personal experience from it, they had like some really cool ideas. And I knew straight away I was going to be working with Burton in little segments, like, well, in-ring stuff. And I've got such a good rapport with Burton that it was just wicked to be able to do that in front of an actual crowd, like paying customers.
Yeah.
And that's the only indie experience I've had was the XPB stuff.
Well, did you ever consider doing indie?
I went with Naylor and Bazza to this local training place in Bletchley, and it was fucking terrible, man. A guy called Bull Harley was running it at the time, and he was just this huge bald guy, and he stank. And I was like a tiny little boy, basically, and he just wanted to rag me out on a crash mat. I've got this new move, it's called the plunger, and he just do some, do you know what I mean, some rubbish power move where he sits on your head by accident with his fucking huge hammy legs. It was just rough, man. And but I quite enjoyed like the learning part, like the headlocks and like the basic stuff like that on the mats, like in the back room. And then they'd make you have a match, and you'd have to wrestle some sweaty 40-year-old, and it would just be weird. And they let me have a match with Naylor one week, and I did a massive top rope leg drop, and I broke the ring, and that did not go down well. And I didn't go back after that. It just like, I don't know, the ring just sort of, like made a shitty sound in the middle, and then I got told off. And the match finished there. And I never went back after that.
So, safe to say you never had any pro aspirations then?
No, fuck that, man. It was just weird, sweaty men. And it was all political. Like, and especially from the stuff that I saw with, like, Bazza and Naylor, like, the way it all worked. Like, it kind of sucked the soul out of them, like, for a while. It was, like, weird, like, Bazza like a caged animal kind of thing. Can you imagine, like, backyard Bazza having to be all neat and tidy? Like, I don't know. It just was never for me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it never got over anyway. I've been speaking to Ashley about the idea if he, because obviously he's really working hard now to get back on the indie circuit.
Yeah.
And we've toyed, like, obviously with the RCWA stuff, with me being like a wingman, part of his entourage. And And I suppose, yeah, if the opportunity came up and I was able to do that with Ash, like now, I'd probably give that a go for a laugh.
Yeah.
But I'd never, like there's no way. You look at these guys in the indie scene now, like, look at the size of them.
Yeah.
I'd just get broken.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't last a minute.
I remember you were telling me once, like, years ago, you were, like, thinking, like, bulking up and everything and proper going for it.
Yeah. I think everybody does at some point. Especially, like, if people start saying, oh, that was a really good match you had, Eds. Yeah, I really enjoyed that match. Like, you think, well, shit, maybe I'm good at this. Everybody wants to be good at something.
Yeah.
But nah, it was never really a realistic aspiration, was it?
Yeah, I suppose not.
I'll settle for my many enjoyable backyard memories, I think.
Yeah. When did you lose the NAW title then? I'm trying to rack my brain, I can't think about it.
Yeah, freeway with Billy and Danny Legend.
Ah, right, yes. I remember now. Was it you took that massive thing at the end, or was that Danny Legend?
No, I'm sure I took like a J drill onto loads of chairs.
Yeah. What possessed you to do that?
I don't know. I've always had a weird trust thing with Billy. Have you wrestled Billy?
No.
But, Billy, look, everything Billy does, well, not when he was young. When Billy was young, he was shit. When he was wrestling in that fucking football shirt with his strange orange broccoli hair, he was just guff. But then he just started widening out, and then he just looked really hard. Like, once he got his beer belly and stuff, and it just all looked a bit more legitimate.
Yeah.
And then he became really hardcore as well, which was cool. Like, I really looked forward to his matches, like, at Heatfest and stuff. The stuff he did with Surge, is that his name? Siege, yeah. That death match was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he had a wicked match with Steve-O at Heatfest as well, which was... and the Lee Andrews match at NAW with the Storm Cradle on the floor. The match with Moxie at NAW. Ugh.
Oh, that was too far for me. Oof.
Yeah, that's the most gross match I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't think I enjoyed it at the time. It was uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah. I remember.
But I think.
Yeah, John was like just shouting, "Just stop!" at one point when they were doing like I think it was a powerbomb onto broken glass, and then Billy was dragging his back across the.
Yeah, but that's wicked though, because they're like the best of mates, and they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like, they wanted to go there and have a sick as fuck match that would make everybody feel like that, because that's just how they are. Like, you know, Billy.
Yeah.
Billy just loves upsetting people, and that was the best forum within which to do it.
Yeah.
And Moxie's just a nut, and he'll go along with anything because he's Moxie. But I thought that match was incredible. Like, although it was cringy, watching it back, it's just loopy. It's just like groundbreaking. Fuck that.
It was that reverse runner off the horse to the outside.
Yeah, oh my god, what a stupid idea.
It literally felt like I had an out-of-body experience. Like, it was
Like,
weird.
I remember, it was like nothing I'd ever seen. Like, are you mad? Like, why are you doing this? It didn't make any sense, did it? It was just huge. Everything was huge. The Storm Cradle was huge. And the punch at the end.
That's what sealed it, was just... Ugh.
And Moxie's jaw, like, I spent time with Moxie after that. Like, I saw him like 2 days after, and he looked like he had a gobstopper in his mouth. Like, his cheek was huge. Like, Billy, like, thwacked him. But I've always had a thing with Billy where I just trust him. Everything that he does feels comfy. And we bitch and argue all the time as well. But we've just always had this thing where we've just got a really good chemistry.
Yeah.
I've had some really good matches with Billy. I think the first match on the ring base, BBWF, when we first got it, I wrestled Billy for the hardcore title, and we had a crazy match, which ended with me giving him a bison for a table with a light tube on his belly.
Oh, that was wicked.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
The stuff that I could do in that match, I don't know if I could do it with people that aren't Billy. And like the J drill who did on me, even at XPB, at the point where I didn't want to take bumps, I didn't mind taking the J drill off Billy. And we used to do Sky High spot every time we wrestled.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, for some reason, Billy could just get me so high on the Sky High. Like, our timing was just spot on with stuff like that. And he could get me just ridiculously high. And he did one of them, I think, onto Tax, in a 4-way with Selby and John. Selby's retirement match, in fact.
How was that?
That was weird. Because we didn't know that it was Selby's retirement match. It was supposed to be... That was supposed to be the BWF 6-way that year. it was supposed to be me, John, Ross, Billy, Moxie, and Ash. And Ashley done went home and didn't come back. Moxie showed up in the middle of the night, pissed out of his brain, jumped on my car sunroof whilst I was asleep in the car. Woke me up by jumping on the sunroof, like bison in the sunroof. And then ran off and jumped in the lake and then disappeared again. So Moxie was never going to be in the match. Ashley Dunn took his ball and went home. And then the rain ruined Ross's portable DVD player. And of course, that was everybody else's fault. Not the rain's, not Ross's fault for leaving it out. Ross threw a massive strop and got a taxi home with his portable DVD player in his bag. So they'd all gone. And it was just me, John and Billy left. And Selby was just, again, it was on those afternoons where Selby was like, well, I don't know. You know when like Selby gets the itch? Like, it was that period where he didn't wrestle every event. Some events he'd just come and get drunk and enjoy himself. But he was just like, well, you know, if you want to do a match. So we were like, fine, let's do it. Fuck it, 4-way. And again, Selby was like, oh, you know, drag me across the barbed wire on the fence. Like, I want to go for it. And Selby was taking all the mad spots. Like, there was a point in that match where I actually sort of got a bit panicked when me and Billy threw him into a cage panel in the corner with barbed wire on it. And he got all tangled up in it, and he sort of got off it. And he went, do it again. And so we did it again. He like went in head first and got all his hair caught in it. And I sort of stopped and looked at Billy and felt a bit like, oh my God, like this is bad. Like, we're killing Selby. And I didn't sort of clock at the time why Selby might be going absolutely mental to destroy himself until the match had finished. John had retained the title. And then Selby got up before everyone else and started talking. It was just like, no, what have I just done? And that's like a massive regret as well, because had I have known beforehand, I'd have gone mad. But I kind of half-assed a lot of the match because my buzz had already gone when we couldn't have the 6-way.
Yeah.
So this was kind of like a backup plan. Like, oh, okay, well, I'll have the 4-way, but we can't do any of the spots we've been planning for months, like as a Fed. Like, getting the opportunity as a Fed, like a group of lads that are always together, to have their own match. Like, we had so many cool spots planned, and it kind of just fell apart. So I wasn't really, like, going all out. And then I realised it was Selby's last match. I was like, fuck, man. Imagine if I'd have known.
Yeah. He got knocked out in that match, didn't he? Or he concussed.
Yeah, he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
But that's Selby. But then that's Selby in his last match. Do you know what I mean? He's going to go mad. And I should have really seen the signs.
Maybe.
But, hey, what can you do?
Yeah. So when did you really, like, stop? Like, when were you like, right, that's it, I'm done?
Probably, well, really, after that XPB match. That was it.
Yeah.
After that tag match, that was it. Done. I knew, and it wasn't like all the other times, like, I've retired and I'm going to try. Because they were like, I'm quitting for, like, political reasons or for a pop, or... It wasn't because I really wanted to. Maybe I tried to convince myself that I'd want to. But I didn't really want to. Whereas that time after that match, I just knew straight away. As soon as the match had finished, because I couldn't wait for the match to be over. And as soon as that match finished, I was like, well, that's it, done. Never again. And I never will. I think I'll always love watching wrestling, but
that's good.
That's as far as it goes now.
Do you feel like proud of the stuff that you've done?
Yeah, I reckon so. I'm more sort of proud of not proud, but to sort of still be in touch with the people that I'm in touch with now, who I met solely through Backyard, is a pretty cool thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because they were like some important years in my life, like growing up. It taught me a lot about, you know, social interaction and meeting people from completely different places and different walks of life who are into different things than you. And to still be like in touch with people like that, I'd say it was all worth it just for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got time to talk about our matches?
Oh, if you want to.
All right. So the first one we did was 2006.
Aylesbury.
Yeah.
What event was that?
It was like not south of the border. No, it was actually south of the border 9, I think.
Right.
Yeah. and it was I just kind of joined NAW. I'd been going for a few months, but wasn't really a part of the inner circle sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Didn't have my roster page up, so Farrell was like, right, you're gonna have a couple of matches with like short round and like ads, and I was like, what? And it just all came out of nowhere, really. But
Yeah. And we decided to go ultra sort of garbage hardcore.
yeah, Street Fight.
Yeah. That match was, yeah, I don't know, it was surprisingly wicked.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was like received really well, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Like the crowd were really behind it. I remember you did a sweet power driver on that dumpster.
Do you know why we did that? Can you remember?
Why?
Because we were by the dumpster and you just said, "Give me a pile driver on the bin. It'll be a laugh."
Is that how that came about?
And I was like, "Right then." Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. There was just loads of cool stuff in that match.
Yeah, I remember you said to me like at the beginning of the match, like take your time getting in the ring and starting the match, like wait until the crowd's ready for it, kind of thing. And so I did, and people were getting impatient and stuff. And then by the time we started, then we kind of like had the crowd. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was like I was finally being like taught some of the stuff, you know, like I wasn't just wrestling like Blockhead in WCW. I was like wrestling someone who had a bit more experience at these big shows.
But I suppose that and at the same time, that's kind of all I've got. You know, I couldn't really do the physical stuff, so I had to do the long game and trying to get people involved that way.
Yeah.
And then all we did was just do wicked spots, basically, from then. Like, after the sort of beginning segment, it just went nutty, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, like, cane shots and stuff like that, like kendo stick.
Yeah, yeah. And what was funny was we brawled around the outside, and I think you threw my head into someone's car or something. And I just kind of was vaguely cognizant of the fact that it was around the spot that I first met you a year before. And you were like, "All right, man, I'm Ads." I was like, "Oh, hi." And you were the first person out of anyone at an Interfed to just come up and say hi and introduce yourself, kind of thing. And so it was a weird kind of cyclical moment. I was like, during the match, I was thinking about like, oh, that's a bit weird.
Check me out, being see, I'm a nice guy. Nice guy. Yes, Ads.
Yeah, it was like at the end of the night as well. It was Cold Fest, and like no one had the whole day. I was just intimidated by everyone, and you were the only person who actually came up to who I didn't already know. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a talkative bastard.
Yeah. That's what we'll say.
Yeah. That match was good, but it was nothing on the Britfest match.
Yeah. I mean, the origin of that was, I think it was, Britfest 2008. I just made the comp of it, and you weren't at that show, I don't think. Were you at that show?
Was it Taylor Tyrant? Was it?
No, it was Dreamer Tyrant.
Yeah. No, I couldn't make it.
Yeah, so you were watching the comp that I'd made, and we were like on MSN, and you were kind of giving me like live commentary as you were watching the comp, and then you were like, "Shit, man, when's the next Britfest?" So it was literally about a year we planned that really, and we're talking about it.
Yeah, but it shows, I think.
Yeah, I put a lot of thought into it. I was actually about a year or so ago, I was reading all the old MSN conversations. I had them saved, and we just had so many ideas that we didn't use that I forgot about. You know.
But I think that's why, yeah, it was just wicked. I love the whole process. It's the only time I've ever really done that. You know, like, where we've put that much time into a build and it had such a clear goal of where we wanted to go and what the story was going to be.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it was kind of organic in that because we'd had so much time to put thought into the background of it, that when it came to shooting the actual segments, a lot of it was like, because I didn't really know, you know, I had like an idea of where you were going to go for promo, but I didn't know exactly what you were going to say, and so it was still really edgy and awkward, and I'm just so happy with it. I like, that's my only real feud as such, and it was just spot on, so spot on.
Yeah, the first promo I came out and just kind of challenged you. I made a point to be kind of a little bit quiet and not really like, you know, my voice didn't carry that much, and so it just seemed like regular fare kind of thing. And then I was like, right, so the second one I've got to let loose now, and I've got to really surprise people. And I think it was on the same day. It was the second show but the same day, and that was the big one where I was sat down on the chair and just like screaming and stuff.
And I was like on the floor thinking, oh, this is wicked. Like, yes. Yes, like overselling everything and just getting fully into it. And then the teasing with the hammer spot.
Yeah.
Like, that spot still looks wicked. That hammer to the throat in the match.
Yeah.
It's the wicked part of the match. I probably should have sold that more.
It wasn't in the match. It was in the build-up. The hammer to the throat.
What, did we use the hammer in the match?
Oh no, yeah, we did. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
True. Forgot about that.
And I should have sold it more.
Yeah, I think that was probably too early. Build. Yeah.
But no, the whole thing was wicked. I remember panicking when your face was falling off.
Yeah, so of course, obviously, I decided I was going to do this blade job. The thing was, I knew that if I did it above the eyebrow, it would be mental, you know?
Yeah.
But what I didn't count on was that it was right above my eye, so I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And so I was wandering around and, like, kept pulling my t-shirt up to wipe the blood away, and I realized this just looked stupid. So I had to go and grab, like, a white t-shirt and rip it up and tie it around my head, just so I could carry on. And it was kind of a weird bit in the match where it just kind of stopped.
And there's a bit where I didn't know what really to do. So I sort of, do I wander off for a bit? And I come back for a bit and I'm stomping you. And John's like, fucking stop! Like, he's fucking tying it up. Like, you actually hear John on camera, don't you? Like, telling me to fuck off, basically. Like, Jesus Christ, like, just stop, like, just go away. And so I was wandering around for a little bit, like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, surely I should be, like, trying to prevent him from trying to, like, cover it up. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would I bust him open and then give him time to recover from that injury? But because John had gone, fuck off, just fucking stop. I didn't know what to do, so I just minced around behind the camera for a bit, like, selling, even though I'm on top. Yeah. I'm just hit like a flurry. I'm getting my stride on. Oh, he's bleeding. I'll just hang back. So I was a bit worried at that point. But then, had that not happened, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as good as it was. It was a bloodbath, man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And it was due that, and it made it stand out from everything else on the card that day, which is what we set out to do.
Yeah, I wanted to do it just like a blood feud kind of thing, and like you know, hitting you with a hammer and stuff in the build-up. You had to really visually destroy me in that kind of sense, I think. Yeah,
and the whole sort of I'm not going to, because I started off like, I'm not going to wrestle you, like, we're not going to have a big match at Britfest. I need like a star match, and then the way it escalated to something much more personal with that big gross payoff. Yeah. You know, it was like, for me, like, obviously not in the same league, but in the same context that Foley and Cactus Jack and Triple H when they had that street fight. I can't remember the pay-per-view.
Royal Rumble 2000.
Yeah, but the way that match stood out from the card so much because it was so, it was so just graphic, you know, like neck now so clean, tidy. Although they're all like feud-ending matches, this is a real specific type of end to a feud.
Yeah.
And the feud that we had couldn't have had any other kind of payoff. And I just think it just sat perfectly on the card. The crowd definitely bought into what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm really like, I don't care if people are like, it wasn't that good. Fuck you, it was that good. Like, I'm really, really proud of it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
I stand by that.
Yeah, like, just trying to do different things, like the elbow drop off the entrance thing, which wasn't perfect, but the thing I liked was John was filming, and you can hear him.
Oh, mate, I've tried it. You can't do it.
Yeah, and he was like, "No, I can't. You know, waste of time." And then I did it, and he's like, "Oh fuck, you actually did it! Holy shit!" So that was kind of like a little yes, you know.
Yeah.
Even if I footed it a little bit.
WWF as well, wasn't it? Really, that typifies.
Yeah.
No, can't be done. Wasting your time. Wasting your time. Just dicks to people all the time.
Yeah.
That's backyard wrestling.
I don't think BWF were quite generally that, what's the word? weren't really fans of mine, I don't think. And it was after that first big promo, and you said that I think you said you were looking at them and you're like, oh, that they liked it or something like that.
Yeah, I was really eager to sort of, because I don't really know your like history of BWF. I wouldn't say they dislike you, but there were times like when I'd be like at the shack and I'd be speaking to you. And Ross would be like, oh, is that Sand Dog? Oh, fucking Sand Dog. And I think it was just because I was speaking to you so much, so like, fucking Sand Dog. Always speak to Sand Dog. But yeah, I think, yeah, we achieved everything we wanted to achieve. And it was nice to see the boys like look at that like, yeah, actually, this is fucking wicked.
Yeah.
I think you also did that yourself, like, particularly like the Heatfests and stuff. Like your match with Alex, where you give him the disgusting kudo driver off the ropes and the ridiculous elbow down the hill, stuff like that. I think, like, you definitely sort of got over time, even with like Ross and Billy, who hit everything. Do you know what I mean? You'll find him in those videos marking out like fuck the stuff that you did.
Yeah, what I liked was that really the whole like my quote unquote character's motivation was that I felt like because I was quiet, I didn't get the respect that I deserved, and I think deep down I kind of believed that in a way.
I think you're probably right,
and that's what kind of fueled me even more while doing the promos and stuff. And so, yeah, that's another thing I liked about it. And my favorite memory of just like the aftermath was you said to me on MSN you wish you could just live in that few-minute period where it's just the near falls of the match.
Oh, that's the best feeling.
And you were just like, oh, I just want to be in that near fall spot forever.
Just that moment where you can captivate everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Into thinking that one person's going to win or not in a fake fight, you know, where the outcome is already premeditated. You've both discussed it. You know exactly what's going down, and everybody in the room knows exactly what's going down. And yet you've still gotten to a point where they're that heavily invested in what you're doing. They're screaming. They're begging you to kick out or to not kick out. And you can't beat that feeling, man, because it means that what you've done prior to that point has been good, you know?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be reacting like that if you hadn't sucked them into that moment. And, yeah, Jesus, if you could bottle that feeling, yeah, God, I'd buy it every day.
Yeah. I think we surprised them with the ending as well, where I won, so it was, like, not the expected.
Yeah.
As well.
Whose idea was that?
I think it was yours.
It wouldn't be mine. I hate jobbing.
Oh, do you know, I think we hadn't decided, literally. That, again, you were saying how it was so, like, on the fly almost. Like, we just kind of, organic. We'd just see what happened. Like,
I think it kind of, it made sense. Like, it was the best possible ending.
Yeah, because I said I had the idea where you go for the Joker driver and I do the victory roll into the sharpshooter. And you said, I don't think I can do that, man. And I was like, well, let's just go try it. So we tried it, and it was perfect. And you just said to me, yeah, that's the finish.
It was so smooth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it couldn't, like, it was, like, kind of odd in a match that was so brutal. And I say sloppy, like, not, like, bad sloppy, but do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was raw.
A lot,
it was raw.
Very brawly and very, like, garbage in places. But then to have that insanely clean, lovely spot out of nowhere was like a real, like, whoa, what the fuck was that? It was really odd, but it worked perfectly.
Yeah, and I love how
once the ending, people were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
but it made sense. Why would your character, demand this match? And in many senses, like, although you were the heel and I was the face, if you look at it, the roles were pretty much different because you're the guy coming in saying, "Look, I want to prove myself at Britfest. I'd like a match." And then my sort of established cocky character says, "No, you're not worthy. Yeah. I'm not fighting you." Like, that's a really cuntish thing to do.
Yeah.
And it made much more sense in the end for the guy who's come in and saying, "Come on, give me that match." And, getting the guy to finally accept after pouring his heart out. "This is why I want this match. All right, finally, I'll wrestle you." You had to go over, man, to round that story off.
Yeah.
It's not always a happy ending, but that was definitely the ending that was needed.
Yeah. And I love how GBH was like, "Oh, I love that spot with the t-shirt around the head." I was like, no, I just had to do that, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we planned that. I thought, if I cut myself here, I'll bleed so much I'll go blind, and then I can put a t-shirt around my head.
But another cool, like, happy accident was that the very end of the match, when you give me that second lariat, it actually hit me so hard that the t-shirt just flew off my head almost.
Sorry about that.
So, no, it was brilliant. Loved it. Because that put the button on the end, I think.
And then after that, for me, one of the biggest payoffs from our Britfest match was the response we got at that Heatfest.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was, a month later?
Yeah, so it was the big old school versus new school tag match. Me, Chris Goodwin, Jack Fox, and Josh Wall against you, Oz, GBH, and Farrell.
That's the most drunk I've ever been when wrestling.
That was a weird match, but I loved it.
Yeah. It was, yeah. It was. I just, yeah. I was so fond of just getting in the ring and people just go mad. A Britfest chant, you know, that was kind of like the like the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
but
down
yeah, a
to me
month
and
later,
you.
people I hear that were at that event, and just because we're in the ring together, they're referencing the feud and the match that we had. That's exactly what you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I forgot about that actually.
And then I forearmed the shit out of you.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like, okay, so it's now me and Ads, and we hadn't even planned anything, and you just
Yeah,
walk,
it was like, shit, what do we do?
we just walked faced off, and you were like, forearm battle. I was like, okay,
Okay, well, fuck it. I didn't know what else to do, man.
I know.
I didn't want to go into like a chain or something that was going to be
No, it
terrible
wouldn't
after
have fit,
like
would it?
the
No.
work that we'd done before. It
Yeah.
would have just been like, oh shit, we've guffed it all up. So the only thing to do was just to go straight in, hammer and tong.
Yeah.
And yeah, I threw a rather wayward forearm, which I do regret.
No.
But to be fair, I got Josh Wall twice as hard, either before or after that.
Yeah, that was just a really fun. Like it got dark, so they put the car lights up. You know, it probably wasn't going to
Them
look
feel
good.
it wasn't going to happen. Wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, and we just thought, fuck it,
The
let's just do
lineups
it.
were changing. And it was just like, are we going to do this or not? Fuck it, let's just go. Let's just go. And by that point, I was so hammered, I was up for anything.
It was like a 45-minute match as well. It just went on forever.
Yeah. Well, I got eliminated like really early as well.
Oh, there you go then.
I was just like, fuck this. Because I was hammered. I was just like, I did my bit with you. And then I think I just got pinned, like, by Josh Wall. I think, like, rolled me up or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was good fun. It was good fun.
Now, we were going to actually have another Britfest match. Do you remember that?
I don't know, do
Yeah,
I?
yeah, the year after, I said, do you want to do a rematch?
It would have just been another match. I feel like the first match, like the Britfest match, was very much for us.
Yeah.
Like we did exactly what we wanted to do in a match where we just got to do the cool stuff that we both wanted to. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I got to do everything that I enjoy doing. The cool segments. It was dramatic. It was over the top. You know, the blood, everything about it was like, yes, that's the kind of match I wanted to have, regardless of what anybody there wanted to see. Yeah, I think we nailed it.
Yeah. And what kind of bugged me at the time was that they were, and nothing against them, but Taylor and Tyrant, like, they had an amazing match. Obviously stole the show. But their whole feud was almost a bit like ours. Like, you know, Taylor was, like, blooding up Moxie and stuff, and they were getting all, like... And then it was really just a wrestling match at the payoff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't have really had any other match.
No. It had to be that just rough, raw brawl, really.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And our match was... Yeah, it stood out on that card, regardless of the quality of the other wrestlers on there. I'm sort of happy with what we did that day.
Yeah. Well, moving on from that, what are some of your favourite matches when you look back, just like the top ones? Again, not fishing for the one we had. We can just forget about that one. But aside from that, you know, all time.
Okay, just off the top of my head, just a few. The freeway with Alex McConnell and Ty.
I wish you'd had a singles match with that. That would have been awesome.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I had an NAW match with him, and it was quite good.
Oh, wow.
It was really techy.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
Yeah, no, I had a good match with him.
How did I forget
I
that?
tell you, my only problem with Alex is his upper body strength. I'm made of paper. If you can't powerbomb me, then... And I know he's got stronger since then, but it was like an issue.
Okay.
That was the only thing about Cruiserfan that I didn't... Do you know what I mean? He had everything down. His tech game was good, and his charisma just came on leaps and bounds. I loved his work in NAW. I thought it was so solid. Like, and I loved his tag work with Goodwin. But I just wish he was a bit more aggressive. You know, he's such a placid, kind, like laid back kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I think I always just wanted him to completely unleash in the ring. You know.
Yeah.
And it never sort of came. But I had a really good match with him. But it wasn't anywhere near as good as the freeway. The freeway was wicked.
I feel
So
bad that I forgot that you had it. Yeah.
I loved the freeway. I absolutely loved the BWF six-way at Heatfest.
Oh yeah, that did end up happening, didn't it? The year after.
Yeah, it did. It happened the year later, or 2 years later, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was wicked. That was absolutely wicked. Selby, obviously.
Yeah.
That was wicked. I had a really good match with Ash at Heatfest.
Yeah, that was really good.
In that retirement match. Yeah, that was a wicked match. Who else? I don't know. There's a few dotted around, but they're probably like the biggies, I suppose.
Okay.
And then obviously our Britfest match, the match with Costa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably those. Probably those. I can't think of any others, unless you've got any suggestions.
No, I think that kind of sums it up, really.
Probably covers it.
Yeah.
So not many. I had a few fluky, good pay-per-view matches, and apart from that, I guffed around and did shit DX gimmicks with Moxie.
And what about just like favorite memories in general, like whether it be an Interfed or, you know, a certain time?
I think that I can't remember which Heatfest it was. I don't know if it was the one with the six-way or the one before, or maybe it's the one before that. I don't know. There was a Heatfest that was so good that when we drove home, I was in the car with BWF, and someone put Pink Floyd on. I can't remember what song it was, and we just sat in silence, and we were all so miserable. Like we could have cried. We were all so upset to be going home because we had the absolute best time. So that I remember that being a pretty poignant memory.
Yeah.
Of like, wow, you know, that for me sort of summarises how involved in Backyard I was and how good it could be. I don't know. It was crazy. It's just all like one big blur. It's just sad how it's not like I can't sort of pick out really good bits. Oh, I tell you what was a really, really fucking funny memory. The entrances in front of my car at that Heatfest that time.
Which I invented, just saying.
Yeah, mate, that was just so funny.
So random.
It was a really random 2 hours I spent with GBH, who I absolutely adore. Like, I just think he's a fascinating guy. He's so witty and very creative. But we were just sat in the car, and we started playing these songs, and those entrances happened. And it was just so, I don't know, it was wicked. I might have to try and find, yeah, you're going to have to upload
Yeah.
the whole video.
Yeah, I think I was just walking past and you were playing Shawn Michaels music.
Yeah.
So I just started dancing along to it, which is very unlike me, I have to say.
Yeah, I know. What out of character. But it was
Yeah.
just wicked. And then everyone got involved.
Yeah.
Dan Van Vertigo, Chris Goodwin,
Yeah.
Alex, and then Oz appears, Steve-O gets involved. It was just wicked, man. That was really cool. Ozzy Mayhem, dancing on his car in the rain to Guns N' Roses. Just the whole vibe around that event. What event was that?
That was Heatfest 2009.
And what was the, like, mate, who did I wrestle there? Like, what was...
I don't know. Oh, you wrestled Bazza in the first day. Remember that?
And then old school, new school?
Yeah.
That...
Yeah, old school, new school the next day. Yeah.
And then the next day was...
The BWF.
PCW.
Yeah. So it ended on a bit of a downer.
It did. But that was just such a wicked weekend.
It was amazing. That's the best event I've ever been to. It was just perfect.
Yeah. And the quality
almost
of the
perfect.
wrestling was just the highest. Like everybody went all out.
Well, yeah, you had like Hitch and Chewy, which was just like a next level
Phenomenal.
stuff.
Yeah, I had like goosebumps thinking about that match. Like, it was like wow, wasn't it? It was like just wow. It was like going like you'd pay to go and watch that like in your local hall, and you'd be so impressed with it.
Yeah.
I was just blown away by that match. Like just the caliber across the whole weekend was top draw.
Yeah, I think it was right at the end where like everyone's kind of moving on a bit, but everyone was still kind of around, you know?
Yeah.
So you had some of the newer guys like Jack Fox and stuff, Josh Wall. But then like you were there wrestling, Farrell was wrestling, GBH, Barnsey came back to wrestle.
ECW, Costa and Short Round and Dream were at that match.
Yeah. And then
it was wicked.
VCW guys, brilliant.
It was just the best, and that's my fondest memory. I think was that weekend.
Yeah, I have to get around to uploading that video.
Yeah, do it now.
It's just very long, so I don't know how big the file is. I'll figure it out.
Okay. Anyway, man, I'm gonna go make some food because Pizzagate has left me starving.
Yeah, I've been talking for quite a while now. Probably have to split this into a two-parter, I think.
Yeah, well, most of it's probably just shit because I've been getting hammered the whole time.
Yeah, it's good just to catch up with you, man. So.
Yeah, I know. Shit. I can't believe I missed you whilst you were over here.
I know, it's just tricky, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I was gutted about Britfest, really gutted, but hey, it's one of those things. You have to just let me know next time you're coming back and we'll hook up, man.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, one more thing before you go very quickly. I had it written down on my list.
The list.
Yeah, the list. When Nature Calls, when you came down to Penarth, that was a great weekend as well.
That was a great weekend.
It was just so random because I don't think you'd ever been there before, and John had never been there before, and it was just like I think we all just congregated in Dave's house, even though Dave wasn't there to begin with.
Oh man, that was ridiculous. We drove I'd finished work. We didn't get to like Wales until 2 in the morning. Dave was in hospital at the time.
Yep.
And we had to drive to the hospital, park up right outside the hospital. Dave came down in his fucking hospital gown to give us his front door key. It was just like, this is the weirdest thing, Dave. It was directions. We went to Dave's house, let ourselves in, and then Nikki came round, and I think the Touch, Howler.
I was there, yeah.
It was just like really odd. And the next morning, and of course, fucking Basil got absolutely wasted, and we turned him into Hulk Hogan and shoved bananas in his trousers and stuff. Poor Basil. But the next morning, when Dave's fucking grandparents came round, and there's just like a house full of boys just in sleeping bags and on their sofas, beer cans everywhere. Where's Dave? Fucking hell. Nicky had to sort of explain, it's all right, Dave's cool with it, he knows everyone. That was a horrible wake up. It was such a fun experience. I remember the trip down to the beach and the kiddies' nosh box. And Baz are doing flips everywhere and jumping in bushes. And...
He did that massive heart attack on the beach.
Oh God, heart attack. And the tyre racing. The tyre racing. Wow. That was what a procrastination that was.
Oh yeah.
We're supposed to be doing a ring base, and we spent like 2 hours racing tyres down a hill. How easily pleased are we?
I remember Ash, like, he got so drunk, and then he sobered up, and then got hungover.
On the Mickey Finnegan's, whatever it is, that
yeah.
threw up in the park in front of like a family.
I've never seen someone get drunk so quickly and then get sober, and then feel hungover and then get drunk again. Yeah.
Do you remember when Billy, those kids were boxing, like running?
Yeah.
Round them stairs, and then Billy was doing it as well, and the lady came down the stairs with a really scared looking dog. Billy scared the dog so much, it actually shit itself. Were you there for that?
No.
Oh my God. So Billy ran past the dog, and the dog shit, like panicked, started running, and as it was running, liquid shit was squirting out of its arse. The lady was screaming like, "He's a very nervous dog!" like high-pitched Welsh voice. And the dog just ran down the road, dragging its lead, shitting everywhere. And Billy's like, "Oh, sorry, love." And all he was doing was running past her. It was hilarious.
Oh. And then,
Not something I'd like to see again, but fantastic at the time.
And then the event wasn't going to happen, and then that kid Tigger got up on the cage and jumped off the top, and everyone marked out, and so an event ended up happening anyway.
And Ashley Dunn stiffed the fuck out of him.
Ever taken a raw elbow before?
Bang! Jawbreaker. And there was a really good main event.
Yeah, wicked main event, yeah.
That tag match, where the Touch actually looked good for once.
Oh, shut up. Touch was awesome.
Oh, he was such a Touch fan. Touch is alright.
Nice.
In the right hands, against the right people.
Nah, he's fucking wicked, man. So underrated.
He's no Dave Williams.
The best thing about that match was Dave obviously had just come back from the hospital. He'd been diagnosed with diabetes. And Gav was like, welcome back. And Billy's like, what are you welcoming him back for? He's from diabetes.
Poor Dave. Fair play to him for soldiering on and letting us all get fucked up at his house.
Yeah, and wrestling a few days after. He was like really drained, I think.
I'm not surprised. Nothing.
Yeah, that was a good weekend. Anyway, nice one, man.
Nice one, man.
Been good catching up.
Yeah, it's been really good. I feel sorry for anybody who can be asked to listen to us just chatting shit for near on 3 hours, but
I know,
if you've managed to make it this far, then fair fucking play, you weirdo.
Yeah, I think it got a bit self-indulgent there for a bit, but oh well. Fuck it.
Yeah. Fuck the haters.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to raid my freezer and see what food I can burn.
Okay.
You need to attach the picture of that fucking pizza to anywhere you post this video.
Yeah, I will.
Vlog.
I will, yeah.
Vlog, I don't know what it's called.
Podcast.
There we go. There we go.
Back to the yard.
Back to the yard. Peace out, Sandog.
Nice one, man. Take it easy.
And you.
So there we go. That is it. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that 2-part interview with Ads. It was a lot of fun catching up with him again. And yeah, one of my favourite ones that I've done for sure. And there will be more coming. There has already been one that's been recorded a couple of months ago. I'll get that one up soon. And that one will be, I think I've already mentioned this actually, the first podcast that I've done with a WCWE member, i.e. the first podcast I've done with someone from my own Fed. So yeah, I think there's still some legs left in this podcast. We just need to get some more done. So yeah, thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more from Back to the Yard.
Shit, what were we talking about?
I
can't even remember.
Fucking hell.
I've just had like a complete mind block whilst thinking about guys like me and DOD. Yeah, shit.